Hi. Well, I've recently taken up an interest in knowledge management, not just because I'm putting together a paper on it, but also because of how communications and the way that we talk to each other, the way society is rapidly evolving, has changed so much over the past few decades. Just things such as the first item on my list of social media on the screen right now. Social media has changed society so much, changed how the world behaves in some cases, in political examples I can think of, that as businesses and organizations strive to put out knowledge, to put out communications on all the channels that are now available to them. It really is a difficult thing to do to keep a unified message across all the different avenues that are available to them. So, the paper I've put together is on the evolution of knowledge management to support the needs of strategic communication. Now, knowledge management itself is, of course, nothing new. We know about tales and proof from archaeological finds of great libraries of old. But what we're talking about in this case in knowledge management is what had begun in the 1960s. Knowledge management going into a digital age. So in the 1960s, we started to have IT departments, and IT departments of the 60s and 70s turned into the 80s, turned into the 90s, where social media starts to gain some traction, which turns into today. So today, of course, we've arrived in an era that scholars are now labeling a networked society where everything is connected, everything is at your fingertips, so to speak. Because digital really has transformed how we communicate and has put the strain on strategic communications and really caused the questions of how can knowledge management grow, here we can see the different eras of digital. Digital communication, as of today, is in the era of Web 3.0. This is where we see social media being utilized to its fullest extent, and we start to think about some of the things that are to come. New tools have been formed just to compensate for all the needs of communicators. So we have things like content management systems that allow everyone to modify and update and enhance and manage websites. We have customer relationship management tools, which brought Rolodexes into the cloud, but also allows communicators to have specific targeted messages for customers that companies know so much more about than they ever did before. We also, with all this information and all the tools are available, now have a specific need for a professional that can kind of teeter on the balance between communications and IT. So this is where knowledge management of today is really an absolute necessity for companies. How do we transmit all the information we want to in an organized way onto all the channels that are now available? Now, with all the challenges of today, with all the channels that are available, we also talk about organizational effectiveness. So, because there is so much, we could say, chaos out in front of the public eye, and there's so many companies striving for people's attention, how can one company ensure that their structure, their culture, their strategy is getting to the market and the clients in the way that they want? So, the connecting link between an organization and its customers will now become knowledge management. Knowledge management really plays a central role in any progressive company. They also act as mediators. So, in a mediating position, they find themselves in the middle of many departments that need content. You have HR departments that need it for internal audiences. You have sales and marketing and corporate communications department that need it for external audiences. And knowledge management, if a group is doing it correctly, is able to have a grasp on all the new tools that are available to them, for everything from CMS and CRM to custom databases and file transfers and Dropbox, and they're able to figure out how to organize all the information and disperse it to the groups in a mediating role, but also very much in a collaborating role. They must collaborate. So I know this slide, normally I don't like to use cliche pictures of clip art and puzzle pieces, but in this case it works well. So knowledge management in a company that's collaborating, that's mediating, will provide results in a successful, engaging environment. So everyone essentially gets the material that they need for communications. And with that, trust eventually gets built to the point where all members of a team will feel more committed and willing to invest more towards the success of the group. So knowledge management might just have a little bit of the keys to breaking down the silos between groups. Now, where are we going in the future? In the future, we start talking about things like the Internet of Things. So where everything is connected, every device is connected. You have smart grid technology, you have cars that can talk to each other, you have manufacturing facilities, all have this information that gets fed back to an organization. All the information from devices, the Internet of Things, that the organization or company of the future will hold will get combined with all the digital tools that we started out this presentation with, and all the new communication tools that are yet to come we haven't seen yet. And the knowledge management department really has a core responsibility where they are in the perfect position to deliver more communication for those strategic communication demands that are to come. Now, I read an article that Luigi Azzori put together, and one of the quotes I took out of it, I thought was really great, is we're now into a society where we have anytime, anywhere, any media, and anything communications. This is where the communication group's demands are just beginning to expand. So the challenges we have today and companies trying to figure out how are we going to fulfill all the requests of all our departments to put unified messages on all our devices is just the beginning of the problems that have yet to come. So knowledge management really, in conclusion, needs to be the brain of an organization. With findings from multiple studies and surveys, it's very clear that knowledge management groups are the key for successful collaboration, successful mediation, successful organization, and they really need to be the central group of the companies of the future in order for them to succeed. Thank you.